Oh man, so could this indicator suggest that Bitcoin could be heading to a critical level within the next 85 days? We're going to take a look at this indicator, which I found in the charts. We're also going to look at the market. We're going to look at the Bitcoin chart. We're going to look at the Phantom chart all in one video here on this Sunday. Overall, it's been a pretty interesting day. I mean, as in terms of boring, right? Not much has happened. You've got Bitcoin fighting with this candlestick, this single candlestick here between red and green, and low volumes here, as you would expect on a Sunday. And we're all just waiting for market open tomorrow to find out how has the market digested this news, which shocked them in the last few hours of trading around the Ukraine and Russia tensions, right? So I don't think a lot of this has been priced in just yet. You've seen the futures, guys, which always gives you an indication that the futures right now want to price in a 3% down here on a 3% down here on the Nasdaq, which is interesting. Okay, so we need to keep an eye on this. Will we open up really badly red? And if we do, again, because Bitcoin is acting as a risk on asset and risk is going off right now, when there's talks of a World War III and we still have concerns around CPI and the interest rate, which we're going to come on to, then we could expect some more red to the downside. Now, let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index as well. And the Fear and Greed Index stayed here at 44, same as yesterday. I didn't expect it to change. It's a weekend, very low volumes and little data to suggest any change. But I fully expect tomorrow to give us an indication of how the market feels. So we'll definitely be looking at that indicator tomorrow. So make sure you come back tomorrow to take a look. Now, what can we see here on the daily? Well, if you're looking at this from a strictly daily chart point of view and you didn't know what was going on with the rest of the economy, it's a good pickup from a bottom. It's a good flip of the EMA ribbon. And now you've come back down to take a retest. As long as we can bounce from here and collect some support from one of these levels, this would just be a perfectly normal retracement. However, what the wider market is worried about is all of these macroeconomic fears, right? There doesn't seem to be an end or some positive catalyst which is going to help us propel back up to these new highs. And so that is why we're thinking, okay, what we need to keep reminding ourselves of what are the levels we could be heading down to and make sure we have our strategies ready for this week, that if we do fall to some of these levels, we know what we're going to do. So I'm going to share those with you. So make sure you stay tuned till the very end, guys. As always, if you haven't checked out NordVPN, make sure you click the link in the description, guys. You get coupon code OHMAN will give you 70% off a 2-year plan on a VPN subscription, guys. It's a complete no-brainer. I think you get 24 months. They throw a month in for free, and it works out like $2-3 a month, guys, to make sure you're protected, to make sure you have your privacy and your IP masked, and you can choose your the country that you're showing as and the rest of it. So make sure you go check it out and get yourself set up on a VPN. Now, back to here. What are we seeing here as the critical levels? Well, the critical levels here from the daily chart is we know that we've got the 41659 line coming up here. Okay, so that's what we want to keep an eye on next. You can see that's a really important level. We bounce off nicely from here. That's also where we broke down from sharply when we went to go hit our our recent lows at 32. So this is going to be an important level for us. Thereafter, we've got a bit of a gap because obviously we gapped down here quite a lot. So that gap will take you all the way down to 40,000 psychological level. And then your next price action support level is your 39,001 here, 39,150. So those are the levels I'm looking at if this week turns really red and really bad. To the upside, the best we can do here from Bitcoin is let's get a bounce, right? Let's get a bounce, and the best case would be to post a higher high. And you can see if we head over into the 4-hourly, you can see exactly where we got rejected when we tried to post this high, which is this line at the rejection point. We managed to wick above it. So really, the maximum point we were able to touch was 45,907, just shy of 46,000. So that's what we want to see here is a good bounce. And we're coming up to a good point here. Like I said, you've got the 41,659 line. You've also got your 200 moving average here on the 4-hourly chart. Okay, so that could act as some good support for us here to bounce to the upside. But like I said, given the macroeconomy, be prepared for downside. That's always what I'm going to say to you is be prepared. So that way, you know, if there's a pullback, you've got cash on the side, or you have a strategy of which of my favorite altcoins did I want to pick up on a pullback. There's my opportunity. I will short on, I don't know, Solana and ADA or some Phantom, and I'm going to go top some up in those positions, because when Bitcoin pulls back, you best believe all your favorite altcoins are going to pull back at least that much, if not more. Okay, so that's our strategy here for topping up some of our weak positions, not financial advice. Now, what are we seeing here on the Phantom chart? Well, the Phantom chart is, you know, equally painful, right? It's a bit of a painful setup here. You can argue you've had this head and shoulders pattern. You've also had this ascending wedge, which we broke down from and met the downside target at the bottom of the wedge. And we've just been now hovering here at the 194 level. Again, all coins, it's almost as if they don't have a brain for themselves right now, right? You're not going to see altcoins move unless there's a crazy piece of news or, like an XRP news or something like that, which is going to completely separate it, or a meme movement, right? You always, when in times like this, sometimes you'll see a massive meme movement where a new meme coin or an existing meme coin like Doge or Shiba can have a crazy day. But in general, all the solid projects, which are the ones we look at here, such as good layer 1 solutions, good layer 2 solutions, interoperability plays, these plays will look to Bitcoin and the wider market, okay? So there's no doubt that we're going to have to wait for Bitcoin here. This is not a weakness on Phantom's part or any other solid coin's part. It's just Bitcoin needs to give it direction. You saw how quickly this moved up to 237 when Bitcoin moved. And equally, if Bitcoin now runs up, this will continue to run up too. So we'll come on to what I think is going to happen in the next 85 days for Bitcoin. But before we do that, let's also take a look here at the daily chart here on Phantom, because what I want to show you is we're still bearish here on our EMA ribbon. Okay, so you can still see we're bearish here on our EMA ribbon, but what's coming up now is our 200-day moving average, this teal colored line here. Really important support. I love buying at this level, guys. Not financial advice, just I made the commitment to tell you guys what I do, and I made it very clear when it came to here in this wedge, I was buying. I like buying at these 200-day moving averages. If you zoom out, and if you just had not financial advice, you just had a strategy on your favorite coins of buying anytime it came to these 200-day moving averages, you'll be doing super well. I mean, I bought some here to add to my bags, and when we were back up there at all-time highs, you're loving it. You just wished you bought more here, right? So anytime we come down here, and by the way, that ties in with a horizontal support at 179, I will be topping up my bags, but I'm still going to look for further downside risk, because if we do fall down to 179, I'm going to be looking at what's going on in the macroeconomics. So if, for example, I had $10,000 to put into Phantom that I needed to give it the position I want in terms of my portfolio, then I wouldn't just go all in. As soon as it hits that teal line, I'm not putting in 10,000, right? I'm going to split it into chunks, either into chunks of 1,000 or 2,500, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to put a little bit. I'm going to see at the price action. I'm going to look at the macroeconomy. Where's Bitcoin heading? Are we bouncing from here? Are we falling even lower? Because I want to, I don't want to lose out on more downside, because if we fall to these levels again, back to the downside here, or even, let's say to 165, or even further down to prices like 145, I want some there as well, right? So I'm going to keep watching it. If I start seeing a bounce, I'll keep scaling in my position to make sure I don't miss any of those moves. Right, now for what I promised on Bitcoin. You're going to like this. So let's look at this Bitcoin chart. Let's tidy it up a little bit. Let's remove our EMA ribbon. And what I want to show you, in fact, this will do. So let's take this bottom here, okay? So this bottom was the bottom that we hit when in summer of last year, when we came to our lows of 29. We went down to 29 here, but I'm going to take this one because this is where we bounced from, okay? So I'm taking the latest one because that's straight away where we saw our move from. From this move, if we measure to when we get into this green box, you're looking at 85 days here to get into that green box here, guys. This green box is the really important support and resistance level, which I mentioned we need to get back into. This is where we got rejected plenty of times from here when we first created that all-time high of 64. And you can see we've almost created this big Wyckoff accumulation, got sent back down. This is also where we struggled. We broke through, ran to 69, and then got sent back down. We were unable to maintain this green rectangle as support. So really, I should color it red. I've just been lazy and left it green. Let's do that together, guys. Let's change it so we don't moan going forward. Let's change this fill color to red. It's resistance, okay? So we got this resistance box here. Doesn't look as good in red, does it? It's a bit negative. Anyway, so let's take the same move, okay? So let's do from our bottoms, our recent bottoms which we've had, okay, which we know we ran all the way down here to our lows at about 32, okay? Now let's take 85 days. That would take us to here. Okay, so 85 days will take us to November 19th of April here, okay, guys? So this is the level we want to be looking at. Can we get a bounce in this time frame back to that rectangle? That's how long it took before. Now, we've got to keep in mind there are various different situations. We've got more macroeconomic challenges. We know the stock market is getting absolutely slammed right now. We know this is a year of raising interest rates. What are the impacts of this? What are the impacts of inflation? But just to give you an idea, that's how long it takes, okay? So for anybody who says, oh, it happens overnight, this didn't happen overnight, right? It was a good move to the upside. Very nice move. Don't forget this retracement here as well. You had a nice retracement to the downside and a good dip opportunity as well, okay? So, we've got to be patient just to get back into this box at 57. It could take 85 days. It could take a little bit longer given the macroeconomic challenges. But this is why we need to be patient. You can also see these dotted lines I've got drawn here. These dotted lines are the CPI reading we're going to receive on the 10th of March, which will be our February numbers, And then we're going to get the second dotted line, which is the FOMC meeting. This is where we're going to hear our first interest rate announcement. Okay, so all the markets will be listening out keenly for this. And I think we're going to have a lot of volatility, a lot of big wicks and ugly candles leading up to this. You can already see the candles we've got currently. Look at these candles, guys. These are confused markets right now. Anytime you see big wicks, these are bears and bulls fighting. I mean, look at the last 2 days here on the weekend. Bulls and bears are fighting at these levels. They're not really sure where the market is heading in direction, and the market hates in direction, right? The market wants to know where they're heading so they can plan their moves, they can plan their trades, they know where they're going. And this is going to be like this, going to be choppy between now and really seeing the first interest rate hike. If we get the first interest rate hike, if it's 0.5% and the market takes into stride, say, okay, this is normal, this is okay. Eventually, we're going to get to 2% interest rates and we can handle it. It's not an issue. We can handle this. Okay, so there you go, guys. That's what I'm seeing here on a Sunday on our charts. Bit of a choppy, boring day, as you would expect, with low volumes on the weekend, but it's a good time for us to reflect, look at our portfolio, not just looking at the Bitcoin chart, look at our portfolio, understand what we want to do in the week going ahead, take a look at those retracement levels that I mentioned, write them down, and if we do see pullbacks to some of those levels, great opportunity. Have your game plan on a post-it note on your desk to say, if we pull back to here, this is how much I want to allocate because I'm a bit short on, ADA, or I'm short on Phantom, or I'm short on Solana or Luna, whatever your favorite coin is. It doesn't matter. And you have that as a strategy. You're not just going through the week, nilly-willy and saying, oh yeah, I feel like putting a bit on here, or you might miss out, right? You might think that I'm not going to enter. The pullback happens and you miss it. These pullbacks, the big pullbacks, happen quickly. Okay, so it's really important that you're ready. You've got your game plan. You don't need to think. It's just happening, right? You've got it all written out on a piece of paper. So if the price wicks to this level, if Bitcoin hits a 40,000, go and buy $1,000 off Solana. Go. Right? Set it out as a plan. Then you don't have your emotions jumping in, telling you, no, don't do this, don't do this. It's all written out on a Sunday, on a Saturday, whenever works for you. As naturally, a lot of you may have your own jobs or other things you're doing. It's good to have that set out so you don't have to watch the charts like I do all day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, this blend between technical and fundamental analysis. If you appreciate this type of video, make sure you're smashing up that like button and subscribing. As always, go support NordVPN. Get yourself set up on a VPN, guys. Absolutely no-brainer. If you're playing around with crypto, even if you weren't in crypto, having a VPN is super important, guys. Just get yourself set up on a VPN. I mean, it opens up a bunch of different stuff for you to be able to do in terms of watching movies or playing games with people in different countries. It will just open up a bunch of things. So get that set up for yourselves. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.